Good afternoon, guys. Guys, let's wait for your friends 2 or 3 minutes before beginning.
Hi, teacher.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, teacher. Thank you. And you?
I am fine, thanks God. Let's wait 2 minutes, guys, for your friends. Okay, guys, 1 minute, then we have to start. Okay, guys, let's start because we don't have too much time to lose. And I'm afraid just my laptop to turned off because my battery is dying. Okay, let me share my screen. And let's start, guys, a new lesson. Guys, I think this lesson is the most important one, which is the narrative essay. If you want to take a look, guys, at the previous exams, you will notice that every year there is a prompt about narrative essay you have to write about. Check that, and you will be sure that the narrative essay is extremely important. Okay, guys, let me explain the meaning of the narrative essay before going into details. Guys, keep in mind that the narrative essay is telling a story. You have to tell a story, maybe the story is about you or the story is about someone else. This is number one. Number two, keep in mind that if you want to tell a story, you have to tell a story about things, events happened in the past. What do I mean? I mean that you have to use the past tenses. Don't ever use the present tenses because the structure will be wrong. Is that clear, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, let me give you an example. Maybe the narrative essay is saying you have to tell, narrate your first experience about swimming, the first time you swam, maybe the first time you rode a bike, for example, or maybe the first time at school, or the first time in the class, the first time in the library, in the hospital. So, guys, you have to tell a story. I mean, you have to tell something. You have to tell an event that happened in the past, done over. So please, you have to be aware, and you have to pay attention that the past tenses should be used. You don't have to use any present tense except for talking about general truths or facts. Okay, guys, let me tell you something about the narrative essay. Don't forget, please don't forget, because I think, guys, this class is the most important one. And thanks God, because it is online. And I think that it's easy for me to explain. Okay, first of all, guys, the introduction, number one, the introduction, you have to mention some things which are really important. Okay, let me write introduction here. And let me explain the things that you have to mention in the introduction. Keep this in your mind, because you have to do the same every time, everywhere you want to write the narrative essay. Okay, so this is introduction. Keep in mind, guys, if you want to write the introduction, you have to write two things. First of all, you have to write the setting. This is number one, setting. I'm not using typing because I want to draw something. B, you have to mention the characters. I mean the people in the story. Maybe the story is about you. Maybe the story is about someone else. What do I mean? Guys, in the second school, I asked my students to write a narrative essay about a certain person, and the student has to talk about that person. He succeeded in education. I mean, in the past, maybe he was really maybe tired of doing something or not okay, but that person that you know, when he succeeded in his school, in his, or maybe her university, he was or she was a successful person because of education. So it's not important for the narrative essay to be about you. Maybe it could be about someone else, maybe your father, maybe the friend of your father, maybe your brother, maybe your friend, anyone else. So it's not important to be about you. Okay. Guys, first of all, in the introduction, you have to mention two important things. First of all, you have to mention the setting. I mean by setting is the place. This is number one, where. And number two, it's the time. Okay, number two, time. Time. Okay, I think, holy God. Okay, let me disconnect my, I hope just to electricity to go on, because I don't have uh, enough power in my battery. Okay, so guys, please, you have to mention the time and you have to mention the place. For example, guys, let me give you an example. If you want to say, for example, I won't forget that day in summer 1999 when I was at home. So 1999 is a time when I was at home. This is the place. I will not forget that year, the last year. This is the time when I was in my first day at school. This is the place. So guys, please, the first thing you have to do, if you in your introduction and write in any Narrative essay is mentioning the setting, which is the time and place, when and where. Okay, let me accept Ali. This is number one, guys. Number two, you have to mention the character or characters. I mean, if the narrative essay or if the story is about you, you have to mention uh, that you have been there. If you have to mention your friends, maybe the story is about you with your friends, maybe with your family. So you have to mention the people, the characters in the story. Again, guys, if you want to say that I won't forget that year, the last year in July, for example, this is the time when we were trying just to go to a picnic in Tripoli, for example. This is the place with my family, with my father, with my brother. So these are the characters. So guys, keep in mind that you have to mention these two things in the introduction. Okay, now if you want to begin, guys, let me tell you something. Don't talk about your story in
Hi,
the
teacher.
introduction. Hi, how are you?
Can you repeat please لأنه ما كان عندي نت.
I will repeat. Okay. Sadine, anyway, I'm recording this session. I'm going to send the link for you just to be able to watch the video again. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So guys, again, don't please start talking about your story in the introduction because it's not the place in the introduction. So in the introduction, guys, please, you have to mention the setting, you have to mention the place, the time, the people in that story. This is number one. Now in the body paragraph, you have to start talking about your story. Okay, guys. Again, please pay attention because this is extremely important. And 100%, 100%. So I am totally sure if I want to say 100%, 100%, you will have a narrative essay in the final exam. Okay. Guys, if you want to start talking about your story, let's imagine that the story was about a fighting between you and your friend, for example. Let's imagine that this is you. Okay, guys, please mute yourself. Mute your microphones, guys. Okay. Again, let's imagine that the story is about you and your friend. Maybe maybe there was a fighting, let's imagine that, against you and your friend, or between you and your friend. So this is the beginning of the story. You have to say, or you have to start that there was a fighting, for example, between you and your friend. Okay, guys, keep in mind something. If you want to start telling or narrating the story, you have to keep in mind the pyramid, which is like this. What do I mean by this pyramid, guys? Keep in mind that this is the beginning of the story, and you have to mention the events going up, telling the events until reaching the climax. Guys, the meaning of a climax is the most important events or moments in your story. So this is the climax, reaching the top of your story. Guys, the climax,
العقدة.
yes. Sadine, it is the tense. What is the meaning of tense or suspense?
الحدث المبدل.
Suspense, guys, or tense. Something attractive. This is the meaning of tense or suspense. Okay. Let me give. What is that, Sadine? I could not hear you clearly.
العقدة.
Yes, but it is the suspense, the most important event or events in your story. Okay, let me give you an example, guys. How can I reach the climax? Let's imagine that you want to begin telling your story again, which is maybe a fighting between you and your friend. So this is the story. I was fighting with my friend about something. So until here, maybe here you want to say that I hit my friend, for example, until he's faint out, or maybe the blood.
بس قلت لك
Yes, yes. So this is it. These are the most important things happened in the story. Guys, here, this point, it should be the end. Holy God.